Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is a look at the chaos surrounding Keir Starmer and the, I was going to say bribes, but I shouldn't use that word, donations that he's been receiving goes further than the clothing on his wife's back. Now, I must admit, when I first heard this story about the other man buying him his wife's clothes, well, that's quite a weird setup. What other parts of society would that be normal, where another man would buy your wife's clothes? It's a strange thing. It's what you would normally do for someone you were maybe in a relationship with. So I found it quite funny. And I actually just ignored it, right? And it wasn't until yesterday that I realised that the Lord Alli, who has apparently clothed the PM's wife, is also the same guy that immediately after they won the election had the access, security access to get in and out of Downing Street when he pleased, and also used Downing Street for a garden party. I didn't know it. I didn't put two and two together. I don't know why. I don't know if I was unique with that, but I'd imagine many people hadn't realised that this was indeed this same man. So I had a wee look to see what else Lord Alli had been up to, and it appears that he has been given lots of money to lots of people in the Labour Party. So Keir Starmer alone, he's got £2,445 for glasses, £10,000 and £6,000 for private office of the leader of the opposition. He's donated £16,200 to Mr Starmer for work clothing, and he's given him £20,000 for accommodation between May the 29th and July the 13th. He's given Angela Rayner £1,250 for use of his flat in America, £8,500 to support donation to support me in my capacity as the deputy leader of the Labour Party, and £8,250 and a £9,000 donations to support me in my capacity as deputy leader of the Labour Party, and £3,550 donation in kind for undertaking parliamentary duties. David Lammy, he's received £12,500. Bridget Phillipson has received £10,000 to host a number of events, and £4,000 to host a number of events, including on behalf of the Shadow Education team. Siobhan McDonough, £1.2 million interest-free loan to be repaid upon the sale of her home to allow the backbench MP to live with her sister, Margaret McDonough, a leading figure in the New Labour and friend of Lord Alli. Liam Conlon, a £10,000 donation. So in total, £1.3 million. But that doesn't include, that's just to Labour MPs. There'll be other ones to the Labour Party, there'll be other ones to, obviously, Keir Starmer's wife. So really wonder what this guy gets back in return for all this money. Well, we know that he gets the keys to 10 Downing Street when he wants, and he has parties in the garden. But the other thing that I find a bit bizarre is the double standards of Keir Starmer. Because I'm just going to play you a video from about 2-3 years ago, I think about 2021, so 3 years ago, when Keir Starmer was the leader of the opposition and Boris Johnson was the Prime Minister. And let's listen to what he demands of the then Prime Minister, and which seems a million light years away from what he expects from himself as a Prime Minister.
I think people will think it absolutely bizarre that he is focusing on this issue.
Mr. Speaker, it's been widely reported that Lord Brownlow, who just happens to have been given a peerage by the Conservative Party, was asked to donate £58,000 to help repay for the cost of this refurbishment. Can the Prime Minister, if he's so keen to answer, confirm, did Lord Brownlow make that payment for that purpose?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I think I've answered this question several times now, and the answer is that I have covered the costs, I have met the requirements that I've been obliged to meet in full, And when it comes to the taxpayer and the costs of Number 10 Downing Street, it was the previous Labour government. I think Tony Blair racked up a bill of £350,000. And I think what the people of this country want to see is minimising taxpayer expense. They want to see a government that's focused on their needs and delivering more homes for the people of this country and cutting council tax, which is what we're doing. And it's on that basis that I think people are going to judge our parties on May the 6th.
Keir Starmer.
Answer the question. That's what the public scream at their televisions every PMQs. Answer the question. The Prime Minister hasn't answered the question. He knows he hasn't answered the question. He never answers the question. The Prime Minister will be aware that he's required to declare any benefits that relate to his political activities, including loans or credit arrangements, within 28 days. 28 days, Prime Minister, yes. He will also know that any donation must be recorded in the register of ministers' interests, and that under the law, any donation of over £500 to a political party must be registered and declared. So the rules are very clear. The Electoral Commission now think that there are reasonable grounds to suspect that an offence or offences may have occurred. That's incredibly serious. Can the Prime Minister tell the House, does he believe that any rules or laws have been broken in relation to the refurbishment of the Prime Minister's flat?
Prime Minister.
No, I don't, Mr. Speaker. What I believe has been strained to breaking point is the credulity of the public. He has half an hour every week to put serious and sensible questions to me about the state of the pandemic, about the vaccine rollout, about what we're doing to support our NHS, about what we're doing to fight crime, about what we're doing to bounce back from this pandemic, about the economic recovery, about jobs for the people of this country. And he goes on and on, Mr. Speaker, about wallpaper when, as I've told him umpteen times now, I paid for it.
Keir Starmer.
Mr. Speaker, can I remind the Prime Minister of the Nolan Principles, which are meant to govern the behaviour of those in public office? They're these: selflessness, integrity, objectivity, accountability, openness, honesty, and leadership. Instead, what do we get from this Prime Minister and this Conservative government? Dodgy contracts, jobs for their mates, and cash for access. And who's at the heart of it? The Prime Minister, Major Sleaze, sitting there.
So there we go. Farcical, isn't it? And I can't stand this double standards with people. You see it a lot with the SNP up here, with what they demand from others is substantially less than the demand from themselves. Everybody else has got to be held to account, and if that's the way we're going to do it, I kind of agree with that. But you can't just ignore those responsibilities when it's people pointing the finger at you. Now, we still don't know why this Lord Alli had a garden party in Downing Street, and who was there, what was it for? It's just as if we have to forget all about it. And that again is something I'm used to as a Scottish person, because we get that all the time with the SNP government, where they go from one story to the next, to the next, to the next, and you kind of forget the one over here. It's almost as if it's the way they want it. There's that much comes out that you forget about the first one. So the Lord Alli, the first thing we heard about him was the garden party. Then we had this, then we had that, then we had clothes, and you go, what was that garden party all about again? And you kind of just move on. And that's exactly what the SNP government do, because of the amount of scandals they have. And it's amazing the amount of times you go, I completely forgot about that. Because it's only the big ones like Matheson's £11,000 phone bill and stuff like that you actually remember. And by the way, he's back at work. It's as if it never happened, and he cares not a jot. But there we go. If you enjoyed this video, it's maybe a strange word to ask, but if you did enjoy the video and the information it gave you, please give us a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please consider subscribing and hitting the notifications bell. But the most important of all, unless you're Keir Starmer, or unless you're John Swinney, and unless you're the government in the Labour Party, or unless you're the government in the SNP up here in Holyrood, because yous are all at it. So not you guys, but
everyone else, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.